Cherokee Randolph. We're going to go over the viola excerpts for the NMMEA All-State Audition 2020. We're going to start with Dvorak. We're going to move on to Stravinsky. First thing, before you start working on these, make sure that you have your pages in order so that when you do your audition, you're ready to go. Mark the name of the excerpt, the Dvorak, and the metronome marking on top of that so that you don't have to look for it every single time you practice. The metronome marking for the Dvorak is 144, and for the Firebird is 160 to the quarter note. So make sure that those are clearly marked. You could put page numbers on them, 1, 2, 3, so that you're good to go. Put as much information as you need to make the process really fast when you're doing the audition and when you're practicing. We're going to start with the first section of the Dvorak, measures 100 through 109. You will have to measure your measure numbers, or number your measure numbers if you haven't already. This is where we go into the triplets on page 13 of the IMSLP edition. I'm assuming that you have fingerings. What I want to talk about here on this triplet section is thinking chordally. You want to make chords with your hand like a guitar player does. So the first thing that I would do if I were learning this excerpt, the first thing I actually did is I would learn those chords. So you take the first measure and you figure out that you can leave your second finger and your third finger down if you're in first position. Whatever position you're in, you leave those fingers down. And try to make as little movement as possible in that left hand. Get to where you can play that with separate bows before you even think about going on to the next measure. Once you've got that measure confident, leave your fingers down, figure out the easiest and most efficient way to get to the next chord. Don't lift your hand and think, okay, I'm going to do the second measure. Keep the first measure down, just put the fingers down that you need, and then play that measure. Now go back to the first measure because that's also the third measure. Get those absolutely perfect. Then when you go to the fourth measure, you're going to leave your third finger G down or second finger G down, whichever you want. You're going to leave that finger down, open up the G string, and play the E flat. Again, as little movement, absolutely no movement in the left hand. Now for the fifth measure, I'm going to play second finger B and open strings on the others, leaving the first finger available for the D sharp. That one might need a little bit of practice because it changes faster than the other units. So practice that one a lot. Then go up to you can either leave the second finger down or go to first finger. Either one. Then you want to isolate measure 5 until you get that one very smooth. And then you go on to measure 6. Again, the advantage of playing first finger E and B is that you can then just put down the chord for measure 105. So you want to get it separate first so that it's really clean. Then what I do, once I learn the notes, the next section, I chihuas, you want to put into second position because it's easier and you won't have as many string crossings. It takes a little bit of time to find it, but put the effort in and you won't be working against the bow as much if you're in second position there. So once I've mapped out all the notes, then I'm going to take my best friend, which is a metronome, and I'm going to put the metronome at half speed for this excerpt. So the speed is 144. So I'm going to put it at 72. I'm going to take my metronome and go all the way down to 72. And I am going to practice this at half speed with everything else in. All of the accents, all of the bowings, all of the fingerings, everything. So it'll sound like this. You'll notice I'm really exaggerating those accents. That's because if I do that in the slow tempo, then when I get to the fast tempo, I won't have to worry about it. It'll be programmed in. The one mistake we're going to make here is putting an accent on the fourth beat, which is not written. So what we don't want is, we don't want to go to that. They don't want that. Dvorak didn't want it. He didn't write it. So we need to practice and make sure that that fourth beat does not have the accent. Okay, so one of the things you can do with the bow, this is hard to get even, right? So you want to practice it with a little bit of separation as you go slowly. And you really want to connect the sixth note of the figure to the first note of the next figure, so that you're spelling out. Okay, that's what you want to hear. With the right notes. But that will help you when you get faster to be able to articulate those chords without getting them really, really uneven. So we've played at half tempo, we've gotten up to half tempo. Now we're going to try to get it to 144, but we're not going to go to 144 just yet. We're going to go up, I would say, go up to 80. Go up to 80 and play it at that tempo. Once you've gotten to where you can do it at 80, try to go up to, if you're confident, go up to 100. If you're not confident, go up to 90. If, let's say you go up to 100. Okay, we're going to jump from 80 to 100. We're going to play it. We can't do it. Okay, it's too fast. So go back to 80. Play it at 80, then go to 84, 88, 92, 96. Make a smaller increment with your metronome. But eventually, you want to get to 144, right? Any fingering you want, blah, blah, blah. Good. Go on to the next excerpt from the Dvorak, which is at 153. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take that metronome all the way back to 72, because that's where we have to start with this. You want to put the notes in. You want to get that in your left hand. I would play this once you get to measure 154, which is the repeated figure. I would do that in third position. The first measure, make sure that you get that diminished fifth between the B flat on the G string and the high second finger E on the C string. You can do any fingering you want. Just make sure that you're playing the right notes. So learn that measure really well first. I'm just doing a low second and a high second just because it's easier for me. If you want to do something fancy, you can try that. Just keep it simple. Dynamics are super, super important here. So when we practice this one slowly, we're going to really focus on dynamics. So here we are, half tempo, 2, ready, go. Because I know I'm not going on, so I don't need to stay in third position. And because my fingers will not allow me to play the half step between the first finger F sharp and a second finger G really well. It just, I can't get it low enough. So I'm using the open G both to reiterate and emphasize the forte piano, but also to get it more in tune because I know it's in tune. If I were doing this in orchestra, I would not do an open G. I would just like cheat and move down. But as an audition, I feel like the open G just kind of makes it easier, and it's going to definitely be in tune. So the bowing, I am using a bowing that I like. There's no bowing written in here, so I don't know don't worry about the bowing. Let the conductor tell you what the bowing is. The other thing is, don't worry about the articulation. It says staccato, which would imply that it's not off the string, but I think it works well off the string. Again, don't worry too much about that. The conductor will let you know if he wants it or she wants it on the string or off the string. So just practice it at whatever is best for you. Make it easy. Get the notes, get the articulation, well, within the dots, and then get the tempo. So after you've done 72, take it up to 80, 90, 100, all the way up to 144. Okay, go for dynamics and whatchamacallums, accents. So let's try it at 144. We're gonna go to 144. This is what it would sound like. This is the tempo. 1, 2, ready, go. Right? So, leave yourself room on the piano so you can go to double piano, and don't make it too soft because you need to have room for that pianissimo.